This isn't going to be the meeting portion of our thing, but we have invited our Steel Valley High School WPIAL champions. And some of his players. What a story. You guys can probably tell better than I can, but I don't know if anybody in the country that has did what you did with a manpower of 17 players around on your team. That is totally amazing. Mayor, give me the floor.
I'm ready. Guys, welcome. We're very proud of you. All the Steel Valley is proud of you. I want you guys to come on up here, you seniors, football players. Come on up. You're not seniors? Come on up here. You're football team members, right? So I want you guys to turn around and introduce yourself to council.
Robin Fowler, nice to meet you.
Robbie Fowler? Robin Fowler.
Trayvon Epps, nice to meet you. Mr. Carter, nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
What grade are you in?
Guys.
You're 11?
11.
11th?
Sophomore.
You're a sophomore, wow.
You guys are the
But the
nucleus.
future's there, here's the future.
There's the nucleus.
Talk to some of the other guys, get them to come out for the team, get some more guys in there. Give you guys a break a little every once in a while.
So I'm going to read you your proclamation, okay, guys? The Borough of Munhall, in recognition of your hard work this year, would like to thank you. Whereas the 2018 Steel Valley Ironmen football team, under the leadership of Coach Rodney Steele and his able coaching staff, wins its 5th WPIAL Class 2A championship playoff this past season. Great job. Rodney. Coach Rodney, good job. Thank you. Whereas the Steel Valley Ironmen have brought honor and notoriety to our Steel Valley with pride and determination, distinguishing themselves, and whereas the Ironmen are ranked in the top 5 in the state of Pennsylvania, and whereas the Steel Valley Gridiron Club, led by their director, parents, supporters, and photographer Terry Kraft, did an excellent job organizing and supporting the team. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Richard T. Brennan, on behalf of the officials and the citizens of Munhall and the Steel Valley, hereby recognize and congratulate Coach Rodney Steele and the team, the coaches, the officials of the Steel Valley Ironmen football team on their successful season, and direct a copy of this recognition be proclaimed and presented to them during the official meeting of the Munhall Borough Council meeting, December 19th, 2018, in recognition of their success and accomplishments this season. I'll read the varsity members out for everyone so that everyone knows their names. Sean Meadows, number 2. Number 3, Eshawn Carter. Ronell Lawrence. Cameron Williams. Donnie Bates. Darnell Youngblood. Is it Nikki? Naki? Nakai Johnson. Todd Hill. Ramar Watts. DJ Burke. Is that right? Nijay Burke. Thank you. Anelia Leonard. Anella Renner. I'm pretty good though. I'm doing pretty good with it. Nasheed Lee Goodwine. Brady Miller. Trayvon Epps. Deontay Williams. Diego Bledsoe. Royce Brooks, Joe Kraft, Riante Carter, and Robert Fowler, who, with their coach, Rodney Steele, assistant coaches Ryan Murray, Sean Zeller, Joe Golden, Vinny Steele, Omar White, volunteer coaches, athletic trainer, Emily Smith, ball boys, Rico Steele, video, Ed Provident, and team managers. Other coaches, please come up. I know you're here. Please come up. I want you in the picture. Congratulations. Congratulations. Come on in here. Get in here. Get over here. All right. Coach Rod, I want you up here up front. I want to get who's taking the picture? Who's taking the picture? Guys, we're very proud of you and thank you for coming tonight. Honestly. We mean it. Smile.
1, 2, 3, 5. You can do one other. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Great job. We're proud of you.
We'll score a little more.
Coach, do you have anything to say? Wanna?
Oh, you didn't do that.
Oh, you know what, you're right.
He was just kidding, just kidding.
Love to hear from you.
First,
First off, I want to thank you guys for inviting the team out. It was truly an honor to be here tonight, recognizing the accomplishment of the football team. But, thanks again. Also to the community for all the support, through the time. It was a difficult situation with our numbers and things like that, but we managed. It was intriguing. But we managed to get through it. We were smart about it as a coaching staff as far as trying to keep the kids healthy down the stretch. If we were going to lose a player, it wasn't going to be on a Tuesday at practice. It was going to be on a Friday night during the course of the game. But I can't say enough about the guys that stayed focused, stayed locked in. We've lost kids, like I said, along the way for different reasons or whatever, whatnot. But the kids that were there, they were there, they were committed, they were locked in. And our goal obviously was to get the Hershey and win a championship. And that's the goal every year. That's the standard, the expectation we set as an organization. We just came up short. Our guys went out. We fought hard with what we had. We're not going to make excuses about it. We played a good football team, and we just came up on the short end. But again, I can't thank you guys enough for the community support. I can't thank my players enough for their commitment, the coaching staff for their commitment, and also all the parents that were involved that helped along the way as far as serving food and being there for the boys through the season. It's a long journey. The journey starts in January, and it's rough. For us to play at a high level, it takes a lot of commitment from these players and coaches. It's just not a thing where you just show up in August for summer camp. And I know Harvey's familiar with it. Anybody that played here, that played at a high level, understands the commitment that goes into it. And sometimes kids just don't have that commitment or desire to give up the time that goes into being a part of a championship caliber team. And that's what it takes. It really takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and I can't thank my players and coaching staff enough. But again, I just want to thank you all for inviting us. It's always a pleasure to come back here because you achieved something of significance when you're here. And can't say enough about my guys. Thank you, and wish you all a happy holiday. Thank you.
Superintendent Weir, thank you for coming.
Rod, it was with love, I was just messing with you.
So I'll just toot his horn for a minute. We have proud tradition at Steel Valley in athletics. Happen to have a little experience with that football program myself. What they've done the last 4 years is remarkable. 48-5 over 4 years, 3 consecutive WPIL championship appearances, hoisted the trophy twice, state championship in there, and we've always conducted ourselves with class, and we do a good job in the classroom. A couple of years ago, we probably could have beat teams by an average of 80 points per game. But Coach Steele and his staff had the class and the dignity to treat their foes with respect and sportsmanship. And, those are sort of the things that really stick with me. So strong focus on academics, displaying sportsmanship, class, and character at all times, and extremely proud of them. I think it's great that the borough is recognizing what they've done. Thank you for, acknowledging some excellence going on in Steel Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. It's up to you. Welcome to stay if you want. No, you're excused.
Thanks for coming. Jason, what were you asking me? You got something over here?
I think it's good now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you just want to relive it?
I was thinking
Everybody goes to it.
Yeah, they're practical.
so it's all like.
They are the one.
Somebody was trying to explain to
They mentioned, is this enterprise zone stuff? No, yeah, that's it. That's no money. They mentioned it. Probably the good things that we should, every time they do something good, we should say.
Positive things, always.
We have an enterprise zone group, they can speak about it. They have Harvey and Rick around the enterprise zone, so they can.
Okay, well, yeah, then you should. When enterprise zone, I'm reading if they do something good,
I'll bring it up.
Good talk.
All right, so.
Okay.
Still got 2
Do I
minutes.
get 7? My restraints here. I have 6:59 still. I'm gonna bang it right at 7. We're gonna get going.
Right on time. It's a first.
Yeah,
Might be the last.
Haven't done that in a while. Not a long executive session. Okay, 7. Bringing the council meeting to order. For Munhall Borough, December 19th, 2018, 7 p.m. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a lot of veterans there. Martin Fallon, you're a veteran. Please lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Preliminary announcements. Any preliminary announcements? Rich, do you have one, I think?
Yeah, just want to mention one of the things that Barrett School and the kids from Barrett School with the teacher, Jesse Anzelic, made up. I don't know if you all can see this, but they made up baskets like this and gave one to each fire department, and they call it a life, tree of life or something like that. I forget. But anyway, I thought it was a good thing what they did, and without anybody saying anything to them, they just come up with this with their own ideas. So I just wanted to mention them. That was greatly appreciated for what they did. I know they worked hard on them. So that's all I wanted to say. And I want to thank the kids from Barrett School and thank Jesse, the teacher, for putting all this together. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Foss, along those lines, I'd like to call on Mark Fallon. Mark just gave me some good information. The Rock Bottom on Veterans Day or the Saturday of Veterans Week, they've been doing it now for a couple of years. They give veterans a free dinner. I, this time, took advantage and I had a free dinner. It was wonderful. Nice. But more than that, Mark, would you tell them what the Rock Bottom with the residuals from that evening, they give our committee a contribution?
Right, they give 10% of all meals to the Veterans Committee, and also they have a special Veterans Brew. And every brew they sell for the month, every glass of beer they sell for the month, they give a quarter to our Veterans Committee. They've done this for 2 years now, and it was because of Kerry Can, who's the general manager down there. Rock Bottom was looking for a veterans group to contribute to, and Kerry called me and suggested to the veterans group up at Steel Valley, and I jumped on it right away. Last year we got over $1,000. I think this year, when people realized that they were getting a free meal, 10% didn't go, so that cut in. But we ended up with $691 this year, and we'll continue every year and hopefully expand with other restaurants in the Steel Valley.
Thanks for your efforts, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
I have one announcement before I forget about getting up. Becky's here from the Abraham Hayes Foundation. And there was, I just found out yesterday, there was a trailer of a movie that was filmed here in Munhall. And it will be coming out in March. I'm not sure the exact date yet.
I believe it's the 22nd.
The 22nd? And the movie is called Where Have You Gone, Bernadette? So
Where'd you go, Bernadette?
Where did you go, Bernadette? And I saw it yesterday. My wife sent me an email, and Jim Dybel sent me an email on it. And it really looks great, and it gives a lot of publicity to Munhall and the Abraham Hayes Foundation, the Hayes Mansion people, and really looking forward to that.
We're really excited about it.
Thank you.
Very excited.
Okay, Rich.
I just forgot to mention on these things that the Barrett School did. They did one for Munhall, Homestead, and West Homestead also. So I forgot to mention Homestead and West Homestead. They did it for them too. So.
Okay, any other preliminary announcements? Okay. Roll call. Oh, one more thing. We did have an executive session, and that was to discuss personnel matters. And for once, it was a short executive session. We were out here early. Sometimes we run a little bit late. Roll call.
Councilman Ballas?
Here.
Councilman Engel?
Here.
Councilman Petrusi?
Here.
Councilman Stein?
Here.
Councilman DeShawn?
Here.
Councilman Bodadian?
Here.
President Foss?
Okay, notice all public speakers addressing the council. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, must avoid personal references and personalities and personnel-related issues. First speaker, Maureen Fry. Please, come on up.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I had 3 things that I had asked you about, and I said one of them is partially on the list. First, they said, could we have a written copy of every check written each month and have copies for council meeting for the audience? And I see you have this explanation under motion 13. I was wondering if maybe, Jason, we could possibly get the individual breakdown of all. Like, what does $107,628 under miscellaneous? What's that cover?
We can give you a breakdown. We can't give you the checks. I talked to Joe about
Okay.
this. We don't have the manpower to make handwritten lists for 40 people. We'd have to hire more staff to undertake something like that. But I get a breakdown of the high-level figures underneath each pay silo, underneath each account center. We can make that available.
What does the miscellaneous, what falls under that?
Tell you in 1 second. That's the borough and the fire, the insurance that we pay to travelers. Our casualty insurance.
Okay. And that, is that a monthly deal or is that a
That's a quarterly bill.
quarter?
Yep.
Okay, that's one thing I wanted to ask you. Number two, I also had asked if you would let us know how much you spent or were spending on the Willis property and the Blind Association repairs maintenance as of last month when we accepted that agreement.
I'll answer that.
Nothing, right?
0.
Nothing was spent.
Next question.
Really? Wonderful. And my third thing is, it was brought to our attention last month that if more than 40 people would be here at this meeting, that we couldn't have everybody in here because there's a sign outside that door that says maximum 40 people. So I think we have to look ahead and say, and what would we do if 40 people or 45 people? I know you started a little bit early, so when I walked in and I saw those people, I thought, wow, do we have 40 people here? Well, I wasn't able to get them all counted. But my question is, I think we need to make a provision ahead of time so that if numbers 42 and 43 are standing up in the hall, that room across the way there, that community hall, I understand holds up to 49. And maybe we need to have a monitor and chairs set up in case something like that would occur. Because I think, as you all know, and we're entitled to come and see and discuss. And if you're out there in the hall, it's a little hard to hear what's going on. So I would ask you to please implement that ASAP. I'd love to think more than 40 of us would be here. The other thing I want to ask you is, the motion number 6, because at the workshop you did mention about Vanguard cleaning systems would clean the borough building at a cost of $612. Do we need it written in there twice a week? As wasn't that the agreement, Joe?
No. The agreement says twice a week.
The agreement says it? So you don't think that has to be written in the motion? It just says $612 a month, so if they came once a month, does that mean we don't pay them? Or if they came, you know?
I think if they came once a month, we would get rid of them, because from what I understand, there's no contract, right?
Yeah, all this is council approving us hiring a service to clean the building for $612 a month.
It's twice a week. If they don't do it, we won't pay them.
Okay, so we're all in agreement, somewhere in writing, it does say twice a
There's
week.
a written contract that requires that.
And last but not least, one other thing. Number 9 motion, where we're setting the millage at 10.75, is that the same as last year? Our millage did not go up?
No.
Same.
How wonderful for Munhall.
Yes, it is.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
And
Jean.
we've got it.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker, Charles Parnell. Charles?
Yes, I just want to know what the future is for this building and the land that it's on.
At this time, no decision has been made. And as far as I know, I don't know if anybody on council has a clear decision, what is the decision with this building at this time? And, you know, the land.
You wanna buy it?
No use for it yet?
Pardon me?
You wanna buy it?
Don't want to buy it. I want to see that it stays here in one piece on the same land that it's on.
As of this point in time, you're looking at it. We're still having our meetings here. We're still coming here. We're still using it.
When I read in the Valley Mirror that the decision has been made to move into the Willis Center, is that true?
No.
That's not true?
The only decision that was made is we take possession of that property. We've made no decision about what we're doing with it.
What I read in the paper is the only source I have. But I read in the paper that to repair this building would cost in the neighborhood of $3 million.
I don't know where you got that from.
I read that in the Valley Mirror.
You might wanna talk to them about that number.
And I also read in the Valley Mirror that the donated Willis Center will cost $3 million.
I didn't see any article of such in the Valley Mirror.
I did see them. And I'm very concerned. This building was started in 1941, and it isn't even 100 years old, and it should remain here. It's a symbol of Munhall. It tops the West Homestead building, it tops the new Homestead building. It's really the best in the 3 boroughs. It makes a statement, and I think civic pride demands that it stay here.
Well, I would caution that. I appreciate that it is a one-of-a-kind building, but you can't let pride and nostalgia make financial decisions for you. We got to do what's in the best interest of the finance of the town.
You're strictly saying finances will determine whether or not this building remains?
No, I'm saying we shouldn't let pride cloud our better judgment. And if that's the better decision is to do something else, then that's what's prudent on us as council. But we've made no decision yet.
Well, what are your plans for this building then?
We don't have any at this time. It's not been decided.
Well, from what I'm hearing and the sources I have, I've heard that this building will go.
You might want to circle back with
You
the
might wanna
sources.
circle back, exactly, circle back with the Valley Mirror and talk to the reporters on them and find out where they got their information. I haven't seen an article in the Valley Mirror that said this building's being knocked down.
I haven't
Well, I haven't seen that either.
I-
I haven't seen that either in the Valley Mirror.
Where's it gonna go then?
I don't know. That's why I'm here.
I mean, the decision will be made in time, what will happen to this building, you know.
We hope to do the right thing.
And we will do the right thing, you know. We will look at all aspects of it will be best for the borough, what will be best, like Mr. Stein said, financially. We'll look at everything. But at this time, no talk, no meeting has been made, no discussion has been made, what will happen to this building. And the same as no decision has right now been made with Willis Center, other than we took a donation to obtain that property through a donation.
But the Valley Mirror said in print that it takes at least $3 million to take care of the Willis Center repairs that are needed. And that's the same dollar amount that this building needs. Don't you read the paper?
The Valley Mirror doesn't make the decision for the borough of Munhall.
But
If they're putting something in there that you're reading, you might want to go to them and find out where they got their facts.
well, I don't know why they wouldn't print something that's not a
I don't
fact.
know either.
Well, I am concerned as a citizen of this town.
And we have a decision made, it will be made.
Well, in my opinion, it's spending good money after bad on a $3 million building that was donated when you already have the symbol of Munhall standing now the $3 million to be spent is better spent on this building.
Okay, thank you.
Good enough.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Okay, reports from borough officials, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Parnell, did you leave?
Did.
No, she was stayed. I wanted to thank him for coming, expressing his interest in our borough. I do think self-pride in our property is very important, Mr. Stein. I think it's one of the key issues of the problem with this borough building is self-pride has been a little bit lacking. I think we should be maintaining this building, and I think that I put a request for the budget of $250,000+ to be put in to maintain this building for self-pride, because this is the iconic symbol of our borough. And their gentleman just came and gave that. And I had no intention of speaking about that. Anyway, first off, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and thank you for coming during the Christmas season to spend the evening here to see how our borough is coming. Thank you very much for coming. A couple things. First off, I'd like to speak about the fire that happened on Crawford Street. I'm born and raised on Crawford Street all my life. I don't live there now, but through my growing up, I've lived on that street. It's a very tight-knit street. People who grow up there live there. They know everyone who lives there. Families have lived there for years. I just have to commend our police, our firemen, our residents, because it was a group effort to solve this problem. The police were very good. The fire company was excellent there. And the residents, they pitched in and they worked with our police department. I'm very proud to say we have an excellent police department. They did an excellent job there. Our fire department, again, they are excellent as well. They did an excellent job there. I spoke with the people who were involved there, and they could not say enough about both our fire company and our police department. Thank you, gentlemen, for leading the men who work there and serve our borough. And not to mention anything, not that it shouldn't be mentioned. We do have a great public works department as well. And thank you for everything you guys do daily. The garbage men, they are there every day. They're gentlemen. They really are. I can't say enough how much I appreciate them being in the town. Thank you. So I want to address a couple things to council. There's some positions that are going to be open here for next year as far as the rec board, recreational board, the planning commission, and any other boards and whatnot that will we need to be filled. Are we going to advertise and let people know that these positions are available so that people can come and put their names in? Or are we just going to appoint people how we choose? I think we should get something out there, go through our list, see what's available, put something in the paper and advertise positions that are open. That's just my recommendation. I'd like to see that happen. That way we can get maybe some new people, some young people. We need to get our young people involved in our town, or otherwise they're going to move. They're going to move away. We need to keep them here. We need young families here. Our population keeps declining. We need to bring people in.
I'm fine with advertising.
Pardon me?
I'm fine with advertising.
Great.
We've always
Good.
advertised.
Yeah, we have been advertising.
Haven't we always advertised?
We sure have.
Yeah, we do.
The Valley Mirror gets our advertisements.
Okay.
So please watch.
Also,
Our website also.
Website also.
that's great. I'm just bringing the point up. I'd like to see that happen.
It does.
The cemetery, I just have a few moments to talk about the cemetery. We've had volunteers volunteer cutting at the end of the season there. They've got the whole cemetery just about cut. They started it late in the year. They're a group from the Allegheny County Courts, I believe. I'm not sure the exact position they have, but they are a fine group of young men who volunteer their time. The cemetery board has gotten all the paperwork into the Internal Revenue Service. We're waiting now, so we're hoping by the springtime that it'll be all resolved. We can move forward. We can really start doing some things there, keeping the town abreast of what's going on, keeping council abreast of.
Can I ask you a question on the cemetery?
Sure.
As far as the cemetery, I talked to a couple of people, and they said that we ought to have a foundation, start a foundation to handle the cemetery. And it's a lot easier to get grants through a foundation than there is just a plain ordinary, the way you're doing it now. So I don't know the legal aspects of it, if we can do it or not. But it's something that I think you could look into.
I have no idea about that, but
Okay,
Mark Fallon is a
right?
board member, if you'd like to speak on that.
The 501c3 that we're trying to get back from the IRS would create a foundation. So as soon as we get that, if approved by the IRS, then we could start asking for grants and applying for grants as a nonprofit. We could call it the Homestead Cemetery Foundation, we can call it anything we want, but it will be a nonprofit venture at that point, hopefully.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Marcus. There you go.
Okay, I just wondered, you know.
Yeah. So that is really exciting news. You know, next year, we're hoping that we can really move forward and really get some things happening there. Self-pride, remember that? Self-pride. I think that's all I have to mention for this evening. Thank you very much, council. I wish you all a Merry Christmas as well.
Merry Christmas. Okay, report of the solicitor.
No report this evening. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
That is a very
Okay, Mr. Manager.
My report are the items of consideration, all 11 of them, 14 of them.
Okay, Colin, engineer.
You all have my report. Just mention one thing. We, last meeting, I mentioned we were pursuing a low volume grant for Dixon in some alleys down on near 8th Avenue. And unfortunately, we were unsuccessful in getting that grant for $177,000. We'll pursue it next year. Different project or similar, but bad news, but not the end of the world. That's
Some
all.
you win, some you lose.
That's right.
So we've won our share.
And that doesn't mean that we're not gonna start a project on Dixon and Boone next year. We wanna talk about maybe instead of getting it all done because we were getting grant money, we're gonna do it in steps. We'll do some improvements next year and over a 3-year period.
Is that a possibility? That we can do like incremental stuff and it still be like usable?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be able to take care of some catch spaces, then do some work, and then some paving.
Okay.
Question on that?
Yes.
Has there anything been said about the joint property of, was it, not Amity Street, where Homestead is gonna pave half the street?
McClure
Street. Have we done any resolution with that, or are we gonna do anything? Is Homestead gonna pay one half of it, and we not do anything? Or has there been any talk about doing a joint venture with them?
Well, there can be. What we talked about is, there was a 5-year plan prior to me coming in. And we're following the 5-year plan. Our theory was, Bob and Colin and mine was, if the borough paid for a 5-year plan, why wouldn't we follow the plan? So that's what we plan on doing, and there was nothing in there at that time. And there, you could say, okay, we could just dump that in right now and just get it done. We have a lot of jobs. We have Hamilton Avenue, we have Shady Avenue, we have Elizabeth Street. We have a lot of these projects that are costly, that pop up, that we can't just, pay that, and there's a lot of roads that are worse than
Well,
that.
absolutely there are. It's been brought up to my attention about that particular project that in Homestead Council, Munhall doesn't want to work with Homestead Council on this project, blah, blah, blah.
Well, the answer to that was always, Homestead Borough doesn't dictate to Munhall Borough of what gets paved. And I would think you would agree with that.
I do.
We can't put a 5-year plan together and ask Homestead, what do you want us to pay, correct? And that's where we are right now. 2019 is the last year on this 5-year plan. We already talked to Colin, and Bob and I let's start working on another 5-year plan so we can have it in place. The problem is when you don't put a 5-year plan in place and you have roads that need to be paved, why did you do these? Well, if we put the 5-year plan together, it shows that we have a plan.
The 5-year plan that was in place, to be clear, it identified the worst, the roads in the most need of paving. And there was, how do you accomplish this within a budget like ours within 5 years?
Right.
So, it was brought up, and I'm just telling you what talk has to say about that particular street. And, Homestead says they're gonna have the equipment there, why don't we just join in and get it done? We can't do it any cheaper than what it's being done for. Now, I don't know the numbers, and I'm not asking that, I'm just repeating what's been spoken, and I certainly have pride in Munhall, and what we're not dictated by what Homestead does, but I think that street would look really stupid, half paved and half not paved. It's not in great shape to do that one.
Homestead should worry about West Street.
Right, they should worry about West Street and not telling us what we need to pay.
I'm not arguing on the behalf of Homestead, I'm talking from the position of Munhall. And Homestead starts right here. Munhall, our street up here in Munhall is pretty much better than the hill coming up West Street. Would you agree? Is that granted true?
Sure.
So I'm just saying it's gonna look awfully stupid if they have a brand new street paved on this side and the Munhall side is filled with holes.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. So I'll bring that to your attention.
My suggestion is ask Homestead it's gonna look pretty stupid on your side to spend that money on their end if we're not gonna do our end. They probably could use their money wisely and concentrate on their streets. And I talked to them, and they don't say, hey, let's put a vision together, and let's get an idea together, and could we work together on this maybe this year? They call you up in August, say, hey, we're gonna pave this road, you want to give us X amount of dollars to do your half too. So there's two things. Again, we're pre-planning for our next 5 years. If they want to plan with us, we have never stopped either borough, Homestead or West Homestead. Anything they want to do us, we sit there and we talk to them, and for the most part, we work things out.
I think we could work it out. From my memory, what Joe said is correct. I saw the email, I think it was from the president, Lloyd Cunningham, and it came in about August. We want to do, would you split it with us? Well, at that time, we've already had money going other places. Maybe we could talk about it in 2019 with them. Lloyd contacts us a little bit earlier. Maybe we can do something.
Thank you.
I have a question about that. If that was paid for, if Homestead got a grant for their part and that's what made them decide to pave it, they're not paying for it themselves. They received a grant to pave it, so they're gonna have all the equipment there, and their grant money is paving it. So they just suggested that Munhall, it would be a good opportunity for Munhall to do it at a much cheaper price than they would be able to do it a year from now. So just to take advantage of the grant money that Homestead got, we don't have to bring all that equipment back a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. That's the only difference. I agree with the 5-year plan, but what happens when something comes at you where you're gonna spend a lot less money because somebody else is paying the bulk of it?
I'll talk about it.
Colin, do you want to talk about that? Well, we were told when we did these paving projects, it doesn't matter if they have to come back. You would think that, okay, you're doing this and they're already there. That's not how it works.
So
look by the square footage. Go ahead.
Well, typically when we do a paving project, we have a contractor in the borough mobilized or whatever. So what you're talking about, like the paving crew being there, that's right. It costs money to get a milling machine and a paving machine to the site, and you pay that. That's called a mobilization cost. But typically, when we do a paving project, they're going all over the borough anyways. So they're here. They come in, they mill everything, that we're gonna pave. you know, 1 week, and then they come back and they pave it, so the equipment's already here. But two, and Greg can speak on this too, I don't know how, I know this is McClure Street we're talking about, I don't know how big this is, I assume this is more than $20,000.
It's a long street.
So, I mean, this would have to
Well-traveled
be
street.
publicly bid, I don't know how this would work with, you know, whatever, it's not, we just can't give them a check and say, and get like a discounted rate.
That's right.
It would have to-
We couldn't hire the company they happen to have there. We have
Right.
to put it out for public bid, just like Colin is saying as the engineer, number one and number two. I've been told by numerous engineers, I thought the same thing you did. Like, the mobilization cost was gonna reduce our costs, and I've been told multiple times over decades of doing this, it really isn't a factor. The cost is what it is, whether they're there or not. I don't know. I'm like, we're not an engineer. That's what I've been told.
If we were gonna put a project out that was like, just to go pave our end of McClure Street, it wouldn't make sense for us not to partner with Homestead, but that's not usually the case when we do our paving projects. I'm sure as you guys have seen here over the last couple of years, they're bouncing around to this area, this area, this area, so we have the equipment up here anyways. I mean, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do the project, but like, those would be the two issues that I would see. So.
Colin, can I ask you one other question?
Sure.
Shady Avenue, do we have a start time when that's
Yeah,
gonna happen?
so our contractor just wrapped up on Elizabeth Street, and he is heading to Shady Avenue. We're not sure, we were hoping to have a meeting with them maybe today. Didn't happen, but, it's the winter months, it's the holidays, it's tough. Technically, he hasn't received his notice to proceed yet, we need to meet with him first, but we're confident that he's gonna be starting up pretty soon, so apologize for that.
You're committed to it, that
He's
that would be
committed
his
to it,
next
yeah.
project.
Thank you.
Okay, engineers report, did you?
I already gave mine, that's it.
Colin? Okay, Public Works Supervisor,
I
Bob?
have no report.
Okay,
Merry Christmas to everybody.
thank you, Bob.
Right back at it.
The Police Chief?
Mr. President, Police Department answered 504 calls for the month. Kind of a slower month for us. 39 arrests, 100 citations issued. And if I may, the mayor spoke about that arson arrest we made this month. I have to be honest and tell you that Chief Pletch here was instrumental in that. He knows his personnel. Something didn't sit right with him. He called me. That's how that all fell into place very quickly. So I want everyone to know that
You have a suspect, correct?
he's in custody. He's charged. But a large part of that is because Eddie knows his personnel and something didn't strike him right and made me aware of it. We got on it. We made a quick arrest, and I want everyone to know that Eddie is a big part of that.
Thank you.
I have nothing else unless you have something for me.
No, Chief, thank you, and Merry Christmas and have
Thank you.
your,
Merry
and your
Christmas.
officers and be safe. Fire Chief, Ed,
We've been busy.
thank you for all your hard work.
All
of
right.
course. And your
Man,
fire,
Paris on
and
television.
your fireman.
You happy with that new 4-year term?
It's gotta be better than the last 4 years.
Heck of a start, huh?
We had 38 calls in November, a couple of pretty big fires. We put in about 1,700 man hours. I gave council report specific interest to the bottom of the second and third page to discuss the Crawford Street incident. But are there any questions for the fire chief about the fire department? And I will also remind everybody that Pat and I work together frequently, and it's a team effort to get things done. So the fire department is a big
Thank
team
you.
as well.
Thank you both.
So, with that being said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all that stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Code enforcement, Boomer.
You have a copy of my report. Another thing I have to ask is for council to consider a motion to start the process on the rezoning of 9th and 10th Avenue, or the southern side of 9th Avenue and the south side of 10th Avenue from a R1 area to a B2.
I reported on this last month, so the first step in the process, we had a draft ordinance, which I was directed to prepare, we sent it to the county planning department, they sent back comments, I mentioned it last month's meeting, for council's consideration. They don't dictate to us what to do. They had some suggested changes, maybe some alternative things for your consideration, or just proceed with the ordinance. And so that was up to council. As I presented it, I said that's for you to digest or not do it at all. So that's where we are. But right, if we're going to go forward, then we're gonna have to make a motion to advertise the ordinance, schedule a hearing, and then also make arrangements for the proper posting and notification. So, and that's gonna, because of the size of this, that's gonna be probably a couple months. But that'd be the next step. If you wanna go forward with it as is, or do you wanna consider changes based on Kay Pierce's suggestions from the county? That's up to you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, public comments on agenda items. We have about 13 here, so I know Donna's out there and they have
Anybody want to
a
go before me? Do you want to go since you're in here? You sure?
question.
You sure?
Come on up, Donna. Or stay there.
Thank you. Motion 3.
Since you asked about that, how about if I conduct a public hearing right now, if you don't mind, which may answer your questions?
Why don't you conduct the public hearing?
Well, thank
right
you,
now?
I appreciate that. As with every ordinance, before council considers enacting it, we conduct a public hearing. Since Dawn had a question on it, I'm gonna give you the brief background of this ordinance. This dates back to 1998, when the waterfront tax increment financing district was entered into between Homestead, Munhall, and West Homestead, which formed the waterfront development, which of course everyone is aware of. The TIF agreement was set to be in place for a duration of 20 years. And one of the requirements of the TIF agreement, among many, was that some of the tax dollars that, well, first of all the tax dollars that came in from all the real estate in the TIF would go into a special fund. And some of those tax dollars were dedicated to be spent on maintaining all the infrastructure, roads, street lighting, things of that nature, and it was done by a common fund. The TIF expired this year because it was set for 20 years, and so did that common maintenance fund. And so now the tax dollars will go to each of the 3 boroughs. Well, the 3 boroughs have got together dating back 6 or 8 months and said, we need to continue this joint effort. This is good for all 3 communities. This is an important asset for all 3 of these municipalities to maintain the waterfront, maintain the infrastructure, the streets, so that people think it looks nice and will continue to come and visit. So we have done that. Although the TIF expired, we have not entered into, or we are prepared to enter into, if council votes to approve it, and it has to be done by ordinance, an intermunicipal cooperation agreement, so that we will continue this shared maintenance fund. So all 3 municipalities will put money into a common fund. It will be overseen by the COG, and the 3 municipalities will vote on what order of projects are performed, again, to continue to maintain the common areas, mainly the infrastructure. So it's roads and lighting, a little bit of fencing, the grassy areas and plantings. That will be maintained by the Waterfront Association. That will not be our responsibility. It's mainly roads. And also, we had added in, which never was included, we had it extended. So the actual waterfront TIF district ends near US Steel, where the railroad bridge is on Waterfront Drive, East Waterfront Drive. And we had it extended all the way over the flyover bridge to the state road. So that's good for us. So that's now included. So that is what this is about. So the ordinance, that's the public hearing. I'm giving you the background, and there's also an agreement. They're hand in hand to continue this. It's a 5-year term, after which then the parties would have to agree to continue it beyond that. So that's a summary of the ordinance. Okay, further questions, Donna?
What is the amount that is going to be put towards this? Is it the same amount that was in the previous TIF?
No, it's
Is it
the
changing?
total contribution is $750,000 total for all 3 communities. It's
All
the,
3 are putting 750?
No, if you could just let me finish.
Okay.
That's the total combined. It's based on the road square footage. That's how we calculated the breakdown. Munhall's percentage is 34.85%. That's $261,375 is our share based on the length of road that we have in that district, which is now a little expanded footprint. So that's what it is. Other questions?
Okay, does the TIF district coming through the side from Munhall, from the ramp where you're getting at what, 837? It goes all the way down Waterfront Drive, down past Costco. Does it go up to the other ramp of the bridge?
It does, but the ramp is actually owned by the county and
The
maintained
county.
by the county.
So it stops right where that ramp comes down?
Well, you
and
see the
levels
change,
out?
that's right, that's correct. That is owned by, that'd be West Homestead, and then the county owns beyond that. the
Okay, and
ramp.
you say all three municipalities have to vote on the order of the work that is gonna be?
That's right. Now, we had engineering analysis, and they prioritized the work they thought in what need of repairs. But again, it still has to be approved. Each project must be approved unanimously by all the three municipalities in order of work, because things might change in appearance and need for work.
The three presidents would have a vote on any emergency money that would need to be spent from what is already planned. So if I'm the president, I would sit down with the West Homestead and the Homestead president and on emergency work. And of course, I would bring it back to my council, especially if I disagreed with it.
Okay. Does this also cover part of the road that comes in through Amity Street? The entrance that comes off once you come over the railroad tracks?
No.
That would be Homestead's.
No, the Homestead owns that. I forgot, there's a map. I don't have it here, but I'm certainly welcome to see it. It shows exactly what this footprint is, but it's not all included, no.
Okay, now you had said the shrubs and the so forth is gonna be maintained by the waterfront, because years ago, when Munhall was gonna accept the flyover, it was gonna take care of all that, and then they changed it from curb to curb.
Well, the
Is that
flyover
basic?
was a deal with the county. The grassy areas and the shrubs and trees have always been maintained by the Waterfront Association,
But
the
years
owners
ago, I don't
association.
think you were sitting on council whenever they were doing that one, Greg, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That might have been that hot summer's night.
Yeah, right.
Okay? Yeah, I don't know if you were sitting on council at that time whenever they accepted the agreement or not. So that's what I just.
Thanks.
so-
And I'm not stopping you from other questions on items for consideration, but do you have any other questions about this ordinance? Because
No,
I
I
need
was
to
just-
offer the public the
I
same.
was just curious about
Yeah.
what the area was and if.
And there's a map.
If
You
it's
can-
possible to see the map of.
You certainly could come in and see it. All right, thanks. Does anyone else in the public have questions? Because we're in the middle of a public hearing about this ordinance that I just described or the agreement. Yes, sir.
Is there any money in that maintenance fund right now?
There is money in there now. I don't recall.
It hasn't been disclosed.
Yeah, I can't tell you what it is. We're still, because it's just ending, I don't think we've gotten a final accounting of exactly what it is, and we're anxious to hear, but it's common money, again, owned by the three municipalities. But there is some remaining balance. I don't think it's substantial, but yes.
Our deposit that we have to do is not due until June, I believe, right, Greg?
To continue this.
Yeah, the 261.
Yeah.
Thousand we're putting is not due until June, but there is some money left. If I would take a random guess, it's around $300,000, I think, but I don't have the exact figure.
Any other
Because we haven't
questions?
got it from the.
Question.
Yes.
These monies that are brought in, they are gonna stay spent in the actual waterfront or the TIF zone.
Sorry, what monies are
The
brought?
monies that we're gonna have for the maintenance fund.
Mean the contributions we're making?
Yes.
Yes,
From all three boroughs.
yes.
They're going to stay for projects in that zone, not in per se 8th Avenue.
No. There's a specific map showing the footprint, and it's just at the waterfront, and that is it.
Just stating that, so
Yeah,
it's on
thank you.
record that we're
Thank you.
stating that.
Yes, thank you. Can't be spent anywhere else. Any other questions about the ordinance?
I found the map. It does not include Amity Street.
That was my recollection.
Do
Okay, that
you need a
can,
motion on that?
well, we can wait till that. I just wanted to get the public hearing out of the way. That concludes the public hearing on that, so I'm not gonna do it before the motion. Thank you very much. Donna, do you have other questions on items for consideration?
Yes. Of course. Motion 4, so if the public hearing, if motion 3 is approved, then motion 4 most likely will be approved to
Yes.
create the district, and it has the other boroughs, municipalities voted on this already.
I think we're last to go. I think both of them have.
I was last.
Yeah, I think both of them already done approved it.
And the COG already approved it as well.
Okay, and the money that is in there, does that follow over the money?
That's staying in there because I think the first year, although it's only $750 the first year, the projects identified in the first year that need to be done immediately exceed $1 million. So when you combine the remaining balance plus what we're putting in, will help us get through the bigger hurdle of the first year. After which $750 years should be appropriate to maintain what we have.
The money in there now is to go between now and June.
Okay, thank you. Motion 5, the GIS benefit. I know I didn't make it to the work session last week. What exactly is this?
I call it open enrollment. You know, in a lot of businesses, you go every year, October, they say open enrollment. You got a month to go in and put your benefits in. You go in there and based on your position, you're allowed to take your health benefits. You have some choices. And then you may want to take your life insurance or your disability. And then if you take life insurance, the borough gives X amount of dollars for you, and then you can buy more. This is all we're trying to do, is take it away where it's a manual 2000 or 1900s where people sign paperwork and you put it in a file, and anytime you want to look at something, you have to go back there. All we want to do is bring this to the computer, bring it to the 2000s, and move forward. There's no cost to it, so.
Probably much like what you
Open
do
enrollment.
work, or like a lot of us do with our works now, which we really haven't been doing that way here in Munhall Borough.
That's fine. Motion 6. This is gonna be cleaning the borough building. It's the whole borough building,
Yes,
or just specific departments?
the whole borough bill.
Okay, so, this is twice a week, correct?
Twice a month. First month.
Twice a week.
Twice a week.
For downstairs.
Oh, that's not correct, sorry.
Okay, twice a week. What happens to the position that does that now?
We
I
will,
believe we have somebody that does that now. that
3
takes
times
care
a
of-
week, he'll continue doing what he's doing, and then that frees him up to do some other work in public works. This person is a laborer in the public works department. And he will continue being a laborer in the public works.
We're not taking any jobs off.
Oh, no, I know you're not taking any jobs away, but it's freeing him up from in here, so what would he do those other,
Supervisor will put him somewhere else.
put him somewhere else? Okay. No, I knew it wasn't gonna take a job away because it couldn't. Motion 7. What exactly is this with the enterprise zone?
Enterprise zone has an administrator that administrates what they do. It's $9,000 annually. Every year, every borough has, all 3 boroughs had to vote to authorize them to spend that money out of their TIF money. They're asking that now, instead of we have to do it every year, they were just asking us to do it every 3 years.
Every 3 years. And is the same person still in charge of the enterprise zone? Did he retire or?
I got no notification as of this point that he is no longer the person. The person that right now is, gave me a letter this past week, and he also is the one that gave me the information on this. But he has not communicated with me that anybody else is gonna take over. However, I heard rumors that there was.
Okay. Motion 8. In the past years, there have been copies of the budget for the public to look at the meeting. I know you've had your meetings, when my work schedule didn't allow me to come to them. But normally there would be a copy here for the public to look at, and I don't see anything.
There's one
here.
downstairs in the offices, there's one right here.
Okay. If, do we have a breakdown of what the departments are getting in the budgets and so forth, like the older budgets? I don't know if you're familiar with the old budgets that used to be like maybe 16 pages or so forth that had the breakdown of everything with the benefits and so forth.
We have a budget that we had to put in place.
Okay.
Before, previous managers and councils or whatever, put a budget together. If they were buying a pair of socks for something for public works, they put socks fund.
Well, it wasn't exactly like that, the one I'm looking at, the ones that I have.
Then the answer is yes.
So you do have one for the public to look at
Yes, we do.
with a breakdown?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. Do we know what the revenue coming in for the 2019 budget is, the estimate revenue?
$9,156,000.
Same.
$9,156,150.
We have revenue coming in and expenditures going out.
They're usually equal.
I hope they are.
Even with all the delinquents and so forth?
Yeah,
The taxes that are collected?
that's the idea behind it.
Okay, I'm just asking. Motion 9, I am glad that we are not raising the millage. Motion 10 and 11, is that going off the civil service?
Yes, that requires.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And motion 13, after all, pardon me?
Second one's 14.
Oh, okay.
13B.
13A.
Okay, after all the bills are paid, do we know what our balance is?
Yes.
And?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,915,434.33.
Okay, I thank you very much.
I hate to toot our own horn on that one, but that is
That's very well, that's good.
more, and Mr. Tashawn related to earlier, and he's been here longer than any of
40
us.
Yeah.
40 years.
And,
That's, it's really a solid budget, and, we have
We've never
decent
had that
reserves, ready to face emergencies. Really happy about it.
And does the budget include a 51-inch monitor that we may have to put across the hall with a new PA system so if we have enough residents that come to the meeting?
That might happen, yeah.
We're possibly
That kinda
looking
makes
into the
sense.
cemetery foundation to donate one.
That might not be a bad idea.
Write a check, Donna.
Write a check. Yeah, I have a TV that big in my house. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Everybody have a safe New Year's.
Well, Donna covered just about all of them, so, but did she leave anything for anybody else on agenda items?
Okay.
Okay,
I got you.
no? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, items for consideration.
I'm looking at that 13, sorry.
Call 13B or 14. You
Motion to approve resolution number 2018-5, closing out community conservation partnership grant project.
Motion.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Dallas, second by Mr. Shawn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to ratify agreement incident up to separation from employment and resolution of Heart and Lung Act benefits.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shawn.
Second.
By Mr. Engels. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to approve ordinance 1592 intergovernmental cooperation agreement with Homestead, West Homestead, and Steel Rivers Cog to establish the waterfront district maintenance fund.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Stein, second by Mr. Ballas. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to approve the shared service agreement to create the waterfront district maintenance fund.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Stein. Second by Mr. Bodadian. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries. Nicely.
Motion to authorize borough manager to enter into an agreement with GSI benefits at no cost to the borough.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shawn, second by Mr. Petruzzi. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to enter into agreement with Vanguard Cleaning Systems to clean borough building at a cost of $612 per month.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Ballas. Comment on motion by.
Does it come after or?
Second in the comment.
Okay.
Okay, give me the, is there a second yet? Okay, second by Mr. Engels. Any motion on the comment?
Comment. I think this is a great thing you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to authorize Steel Valley Enterprise Zone to pay administration fee of $9,000 per year for the 3-year period beginning in 2019 from Steel Valley Enterprise Zone TIF fund.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Engel, second by Mr. Bodadian. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to approve 2019 budget at $9,156,150.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bodadian.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ballas. Comment on it. How many years, Joe, has this been with no increase? Is it 4? No?
I believe so.
That's what I believe it is, 4 also. So just wanted to make that
I've only
clear.
been here 3.
Good job.
Yeah.
You've been here 3, well, you know it hasn't been raised to 3.
Yeah.
And then we didn't raise it before you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt ordinance 1589, setting 2019 tax millage rate of 10.75.
Motion.
Second?
All right, this time we're gonna have a public hearing. I should have done this earlier when you asked the question. I neglected that, but it's self-explanatory. This sets the taxes only for 2019 at the same millage without an increase. Does anyone who didn't ask a question about this ordinance have any questions now? Okay, no one's indicating a question. Thank you. That concludes the public hearing. You can take the vote.
Okay.
I have a motion. I don't have a second.
Who made the motion?
He did second.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion second. Becky got it, okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carries.
Motion to promote one of the following officers.
Well, let's pause, let's,
Yeah.
because we're voting
Okay.
on a hiree, let's
Yeah.
wait till Mr. Deshawn's back, so in case it's a close one, we don't have to have a vote. We can go, well, let's go on
We can do the
to
other one.
12, we'll come back.
Motion 12, motion to approve the November 21st, 2018 minutes.
Motion by Ms. Bodie and second by Mr. Ballas, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Nay? Okay, Mr. carries 6-0.
Motion to pay bills for the period November 21st through December 17th, 2018, summarized as follows, the total being $421,771.64.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Ingles. Second by Mr. Petruzzi. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion carries.
Motion 13B, motion to approve payroll for the period of November 15th and November 29th, 2018, for the total of $264,766.68.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bell, second by Mr. Ingles. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays?
Hey, Rob, we're gonna put on there about the 9th Avenue rezone, right? We could add that, can't we?
We could add it, yeah, we could add it.
For January 1.
No?
Okay.
Okay, our solicitor suggests we
That's fine.
review it a little bit more. Okay,
Okay.
everybody's back. I guess we're going back to motion 10.
Motion to promote one of the following officers to sergeant. So it is being Vince Abbott, Dave Smoley, and James Williams. For approval by Mayor Brennan and Chief Kennedy.
Mr. Chairman, I move we appoint.
What motion?
Well, motion first.
Yeah, we need the motion
Mr. Shaw, I
first.
need to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we promote Officer David Smoley.
Second.
Okay, motion to
We're gonna have a roll call?
approve. Yeah, one roll call motion for Officer Smoley by Mr. Shawn, second by Mr. Engels, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on this, Becky.
Councilman Ballard?
Mr. Smoley.
Councilman Ingalls?
Smalley.
It's
Councilman
just yes or
Petrucci?
no.
Yes.
Yes or no.
Okay, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Petrucci? Councilman Stein?
Yes.
Councilman Bodadian?
Yes.
President Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
And me too.
Oh, is that Mr. Schultz?
Becky?
Mr. Shawnee's.
You make it.
Aye.
Sorry. My apologies.
That's okay.
Sorry, bear with me just 1 second. Okay. Motion to promote one of the officers, following officers to sergeant. The two remaining officers were Officer Abbott and Officer Williams. So it will be Officer Abbott, Darren Sharp, and James Wicks. For approval by Mayor Brennan and Chief Campbell.
I made a motion for Officer Williams.
Okay, moved by Officer Williams.
I second that motion.
Okay. Second on Mr. Petruzzi. And we will take another roll call vote.
Councilman Ballas?
Yes.
Councilman Ingalls?
Yes.
Councilman Petruzzi?
Yes.
Councilman Stein?
Yes.
Councilman Tishon?
Aye.
Councilman Bonadian?
Yes.
And President Faust.
Yes. I just want to make a comment on it. Munhall was very lucky. We had a very qualified, and I think the chief and the mayor can both attest to this. This wasn't an easy decision. We have more than 2 people qualified, and unfortunately, we can only promote 2 at this time. But it was a tough decision, but we're lucky to have qualified people ready to step up and do this work. And a lot of them have been doing the work already because we've been shorthanded, and there's been an officer in charge, a patrolman taking the sergeant's duties while we were shorthanded. So we're very lucky.
Who was the second one?
Officer Williams. Jimmy Williams.
Motion to approve the November 21st, 2018.
We did that.
I'm
We did
sorry.
that. We did 14.
I'm sorry.
Okay, other additional matters before the council, before the body here.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait, we got a
No,
hand up.
that's all.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
I just said,
By any chance, do we get a street light put behind 132 Crawford Street? Because that dark, that alley's so dark back there, we could use it.
Familiar with it, I think.
Because after that recent fire, we got.
We look at that.
Crawford.
Yeah, I'll call Duke and Light and see what we can do.
Because we sorely need one back here.
Is it like right across from like Woodlawn and right across from?
It was between Lawrence and Crawford.
Oh, yeah, Crawford.
Back in the alley?
In the alley?
What is your name?
James Cushman, K-U-S-K-A.
K-U?
S-K-A.
Yeah, just for the future reference, you can just call my office and I will, you can ask me that in any time.
Because that alley's dark back there.
Yeah, I'll call Duke and Light.
And I have to make another comment too. Jake Fletch and the Munhall Fire Department did a good job up there. Because they didn't come up as soon as they did, we would have wiped out 3 homes.
Well, better than that.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you. Yes, sir.
I think it's the fire chief too, but I wanted to thank the fire chief for deciding to do the boot drive this for the next couple of days for my brother. So he continues his study.
I didn't know that. That's good to know. I'm glad you brought that up.
We can do it
I
from
definitely,
the 21st to the 24th.
Will they be doing it on Main Street? Or?
Yeah, I believe right in front of number 4.
Is it a food truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, because I'll reach in my pocket a little deeper when I drive by them.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Can you make sure they get a solicitation permit?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
Chairman, Mr. Bodine, second by Mr. Michon. All in favor, somebody saying aye.
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 Happy holidays to everybody.
Merry Christmas.